Portland condo sales dropped more than 20% last year, and the headlines are calling it a crash. But as a local realtor, I know that most of the drop is a mirage, and I'll explain why in this video. So let's start right away. There's a number going around right now that's got buyers and sellers nervous, and once you see what's hiding inside it, the whole thing flips. Portland condo sales dropped from around 295 last year, down from 371 the year before. That's more than 20% fewer sales. The money changing hands fell almost 28%, and the average sale price came down about 10% from the mid 700s into the high 600s. Yikes, right? But a big chunk of that drop is just a data quirk. So hear me out. Back in 2024, two big condo projects sold all their units at once, and that stacked the year before way up. So last year wasn't falling off a cliff, but it's getting measured against a fake high. Let me put this in perspective. Line up last year next to 2022 and 2023, and the sales numbers look about the same. That's because the data set changed. The market didn't fall apart, and hold on to that because when we go into selling, the same idea is what's going to win you the deal. Let me finish debunking this scary number first though. Think of it this way. The headline says the store sold way less this year, but last year they counted one giant bulk order as a bunch of single sales. Take that out, and it's a normal year, and way more stuff on the shelves. Right now, there's about 114 condos for sale in Portland. They're sitting twice as long as they were a couple years back, and they're selling for around $52,000 under asking, about 7.5% off. The market cooled and gave a bunch of buyers some room, but it didn't crash. Still though, the headline number is citywide average, and Portland condos don't act like one market. Walk 3 neighborhoods and you'll see 3 different worlds. And that first one is where all the softness turns into a win. Stand at the top of the hill, the eastern promenade trails at your feet, the bay stretched out below you, and you can walk to coffee, a bakery, or the working waterfront in any direction. This is the part of Portland people fall in love with. You'll see it in who's around, old-timers who have been here forever, folks working on a laptop in the window seat, second homeowners carrying groceries back into nice elevator buildings. It feels lived in, but a little fancy. If it didn't sound great enough if you were already eyeing this neighborhood, you'll be happy to know Munjoy Hill's a big buyer's market right now. You'll mostly see sellers without much equity, units sitting longer than they used to, and some new construction that hasn't sold. You can get an ocean view unit, something closer to the water, brand new stuff just waiting for the right person. There's real room to negotiate. You can buy a 1-bed, 1-bath in a good walkable spot on the hill in a newer building for around $500,000. This market is for my buyers out there. There just aren't many single folks who can drop close to $600,000 on a 1-bedroom and want to live right there. That same person could go into the suburbs and get more space for the money. So it's a great spot, but it's a small buyer pool, and that's exactly why you've got leverage. Let me show you what that looks like in real numbers. There's a unit listed right now in the mid 500,000s. It'll probably sell closer to the low 500,000s. But a totally different unit in that building sold for over $629,000 2 years ago. Same roof, 6 figures apart in about 24 months. And that gap turns into a real problem the second you step into the West End, where the price on the listing is only half the story. So if you're buying here, this is your window. Go after the best unit. Push hard and throw out offers that feel a little aggressive. You might just get them accepted. And normal back and forth doesn't mean you're missing the boat. Now drive a few minutes off the peninsula and the whole thing flips. But before that, if you're sitting in Boston or New York thinking about a Portland condo and you want a straight read on what your neighborhood and price point are really doing, that's what I do here as a Maine native every single day. My contact info is in the description down below. All right, now let's get back into it. Trade the waterfront for low buildings near the grocery store, the everyday stuff, the roads people drive to work on. A Saturday out here off the peninsula is about errands, the kids stuff, a quick drive into town for dinner or show. This is life in Maine, and it's the steadiest corner of the whole condo market. Over here, the lower starting price keeps people moving. This is the first home, live-in kind of market, and it's barely flinched where the luxury wave hit. There are about 79 condos for sale right there right now. You'll find some 2-bed, 2-bath condos in the mid 400s, and there's some really good deals. There's a 2-bed, 2-bath, about 1,200 square feet with a decent association sitting in the high 300,000s, and that's a great value. If you're buying, even with more to pick from, you've still got to jump quick on the good ones. They can fly off the shelves if they're priced right. So keep the timeline in mind because the biggest piece of advice I give every condo buyer and seller is coming at the end, and it's all about time. But let's move on for now. So the bottom line is, if you're selling, price it right and show it well. These are first-time home buyers, so the condition matters more. They want a clean, ready place, and they don't always get what repairs really mean. And make sure your building's FHA approved if you can. That's the one difference between a packed buyer pool and a thin one. One more thing worth knowing, we're starting to see more sellers throw in concessions out here when the net price still works, even covering special assessments to get the deal done. So there's room to get creative on both sides. Now, that word, assessments, is where our next neighborhood gets scary, because a beautiful building can cost you a lot of money. West End is the greatest corner of Portland, and it's one where the prettiest thing can hide the most expensive surprise. Old Portland at its finest. The oldest, prettiest buildings in the city, brick everywhere, tree-lined streets, that old money feel, and still super walkable. You can get to the parks, the shops, downtown, without giving up any of the charm. People buying here are often after a second home, or they really want to be close to the private school in the area. But here's the catch. You need to hear this before you write an offer. These buildings are old, very old, which means the fees are climbing fast. You'll pay high insurance, high upkeep, and you'll have to do big repairs. Imagine you fall in love with a gorgeous unit, you're ready to write an offer, and then you're digging into the building, and it turns out that an old place needs a new sewer line. Now, there's a special assessment in the tens of thousands of dollars landing on every owner, and you only got caught in it because somebody dug it up. You're buying a slice of whatever that 100-year-old building needs over the next few years. So read the reserve study, dig into the money, ask what's planned. You've got a pretty big range over here, with small condos starting around the mid-200s all the way up to $1.5 million. Lots of options in the $300,000 to $550,000 band, and then some higher tier condos in the mid-600s into the high 800s. If you're selling here, get your association's money in order before you list, and push for repairs ahead of time. Oh, and price for today's market, not 6 months ago. You've got to be sharp. So we've walked all three neighborhoods. Now let's land the one piece of advice that ties them all together. If you remember one thing about this whole video, make it this. It's about timeline. Condos won't grow in value like a single family home, so you need more time to get your equity back if you sell. Treat a condo like a longer hold. That's the difference between this working out and stressing you out. If you're buying in softer spots, Munjo Hill especially, you already know the play. Go after the best unit and push hard. Throw out an aggressive offer, and don't let the headlines scare you off. There are real deals out there right now. And if you're selling anywhere, remember that scary number we opened with. Don't price to last year's panic. Price sharp and show it well. If you don't have showing requests in the first week, it's the price, and there's no getting around it. A Portland condo might sit for a month, while a well-priced house in the suburbs gets showings in a week. Your expectations have got to match your neighborhood. The scary headline and the Portland condo market are two different animals, and the buyers who get the gap are the ones that are walking off with the deals. Soft doesn't have to mean broken. It can be leverage if you know which neighborhood you're standing in. If you want to move to a condo while the discount window's open, or you're a seller who needs the price dialed in before the market shifts under you, email me today. It's down in the description, and I'll give you a straight read on your exact building and block. If this has your search drifting towards the suburbs instead, the video I've linked splits apart the three different Portland markets nobody else is pulling apart, and which one you're in changes the whole next move. Thanks for watching until the end. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.